Aaron Smith of Superfund if there were any positives that could jumpstart the weary markets.
Always could be the fact that the market's a little bit oversold. So you might see a bear market rally, what we would say, 15 to 20% jump in equities because of the bailout packages from Obama and the new administration coming in. But as
Aaron,
we've seen,
it's already been oversold over the past 8 months, and this Obama package, don't you think it's already been discounted in the first week of trade in the new year?
And even worse, some of the bailout packages like TARP spending are, in question as to how well they're being executed. So these are issues we have to consider. And if you just look from a purely technical standpoint at the market, look at the 150-day moving average. It has such a clear downward slope that at no point could we suggest that this is the bottom or that we've seen the worst. Possibly some good news could come out and cause prices to go up a little bit, but we would advise investors to look at real assets and other diversification opportunities like gold, like real estate, or like a diversified managed future strategy.
But in the U.S., it was the housing market that really pulled down the U.S. market and where we are in right now. So is it really time to get into the property market?
Well, sure. I mean, naturally, housing and housing-related industries make up about 50% of the U.S. economy. So obviously, with a real estate downturn, that's going to have very severe consequences on market prices in the U.S.
But has sentiment improved? You just got back from your holiday in Michigan. Has it really improved?
Yeah, I was back at my family's home in Michigan. I was in Detroit. I've seen how incredibly negative the sentiment there is. It's tough to even be in that part of the world. It's tough to imagine that when you walk down Orchard Road and you see all the activity and you see Gucci is full and all of the Ferragamos are full. But in Detroit, it's really a different picture. As we saw, over 500,000 jobs lost just last month.
Okay, you have the economic and the financial crisis. Asia looking towards the US and Europe for direction. Now you have to add into the equation corporate fraud. What happened to Satyam last week? Could this just be the tip of the iceberg? And could this bring Asia even further down into negative territory?
Look, Rico, if it could happen in India, it could happen anywhere. The fact is that I think it is one isolated incident, but once you see one event, there might be a few others, particularly in the mid-cap or smaller companies. But the Satyams definitely exist out there, and the adverse market conditions are likely to bring them out.
And this kind of fraud doesn't usually show up when it's a bull market, but it definitely manifests itself in a bear market.
That's exactly right. The Satyams, the Madoffs, it's easy to sort of hide when market prices are just going up and up and up. I'll also mention regulators aren't calling to change the regulations or politicians aren't trying to change the laws during a bull market.
So briefly, this is put into question right now, transparency and corporate governance back on the headlines in Asia?
It absolutely has to be an issue. That there has to be strong steps taken to restore investor confidence. And at this point, if you look at any corporation out there, you don't know what the value could be 2 to 3 years out. If you look at real estate, commodities, or a diversified managed future strategy, certainly 2 to 3 years out, we know that there will be a value there.
And that was my earlier conversation with Aaron. And scandal-ridden Indian software giant